All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. It's Mary. I'm so excited to see everybody popping in. If you can hear me and see me, if someone's at their keyboard, you can let me know that. I like to do that first thing so that I'm not just babbling into the wind. Hello, hello. If you are live with us, welcome. So happy you're here. If you're watching the replay later, uh, welcome back. But just so excited to be spending a little bit of time with you all this morning. Look where everyone's coming in from. It's like 2 a.m. for some people in the morning. Others, it's early morning. And then for those of us on the East Coast, it's 10 a.m. So mid-morning. So excited. I'm excited. I haven't done a live in a while on YouTube. And so we'll jump into some crafting. If you notice, my title for this video is Making a Mess for the Health of It. I'll probably be using that a few more times because, yeah, I've been noticing I need a little bit of creative time for my mental health and well-being, and I've just been sort of neglecting that. So, and what better to do it than to add it in with community? So that's why I chose to pop in today. Hello, hello, everyone. Yes. Oh, good. Germany, afternoon. Very good. Exciting. Okay. So a couple of things before I jump into the live. In the description of this video, you'll see just a couple of things I wanted to share with you. The first being that if you want to join us for our next live class, which is next Saturday, the 27th, Sunday? Uh-oh, now I'm second guessing. Saturday, yeah, Saturday, the 27th. Juliana Michaels will be joining, and we'll be doing some mixed media. I did a practice run with her, and it's just such an educational experience. Even if you're not into mixed media, I would recommend coming so that you can get some information, education, see if it's something you want to dabble with. I think that's just really, I want to encourage everybody to join. It's going to be so fun and so informative. So it's going to be fun. And then also, there's a freebie and some other sales going on at scrapbook.com. That link is in there if you want to check that out. My website link is in there as well. And that is just to share. I have all my past replay classes up on one of my pages. You can shop through my stores as well for if you wanted to bookmark that and use those for affiliates. They're my affiliates. So basically, that's no cost to you. It's just the company gives whoever sends the person there, gives them a little bit of commission back, helps support the channel, helps me keep my classes, pay what you can, those kinds of things. So I just want to plug that. And then the supplies that I think I'll be using today. You never know, right? It all just happens sometimes. You just think you're going to start off with stuff and then you just get creative. So we'll see. Okay. Very good. Oh, thanks for all the sweet comments. Love it. Morning from Seattle. Ah, Deanna? I hope I'm saying that right. Seattle. I'll be out there in August for a conference. So that'd be fun. I've only been to Seattle once, one other time, and I love it. It's totally my vibe. So, okay, let's switch cameras. And we will talk about a little bit what we're going to do today. Oh, I didn't even check if you guys can hear me. I'm assuming you can hear and see me just fine. I didn't even look. I asked, and then oh yeah, thanks, Mary. Okay, see and hear just fine. So let me switch cameras and let me show you what some of the stuff I have and what I was thinking about making today. Okay, one of the reasons why I wanted to select this particular project is, first of all, heat emboss heat resist is probably one of my favorite techniques to do. It's just so fun. But I also think that, you know, this can be an expensive hobby if you feel like you need all the things, and you just don't. You just don't need all the things. And so to prove that, I kind of want to make some fun, get creative, get messy, inky, have fun, and use just a very small stamp set. So I chose this one particularly for a couple reasons. One, it's one of the smallest stamp sets I have. It also is a freebie right now over at scrapbook.com if you wanted it. But because it has these stars in it, and I feel like stars can be used for so many things. Celebration, birthday, holidays, like you can just use it for so many things. Night skies. So I'm going to have some fun with this, and I'm going to make I'm thinking of making more of a autumn style card, like fall, with the color theme, but we'll see what happens. And so I'm going to be using some watercolor cardstock. This is the brand I use. You can get 2 packs over at Amazon, and it lasts me quite a long time. But I'm going to use this watercolor cardstock, and I'm going to be using some embossing. So I'm going to need a sticky ink. I have here one from scrapbook.com, one from Distress. So I'll use some sticky ink, doesn't matter which one. And then I picked out some fall colors. Is that getting you in fall mood? Who else here is like a poster kid for fall? I love it. It's so fun. I'm not totally over summer yet because we have a while to go. And I'm done with my summer semester this coming week. So I have actually a few weeks off. I can relax in the summer. However, I just do love fall. So I'm just going to play with those colors. Yes, Lena is too. Okay, so I have some fall colors. And then I have my embossing clear ink. You can use white, clear for this technique. It doesn't matter. We're also going to be using some foil. So I have some gold foil here. And I'm going to do foiling without any kind of machine, just a heat gun. Again, kind of laying into that theme of like, you don't need all the things. Listen, we have a moment of full disclosure transparency right now. I bought the Better Press like 2 months ago. I still haven't even tried it. So, you don't need all the things. They're fun to have. And I don't want to diss that because I buy them too. Okay. So let's see. Jay says, not ready for sweater weather. No, I know. I'm not totally either. I just thought I'd pick some of those colors. Okay. So, we'll actually do a couple, and maybe I'll do like a summery color one and then the fall color one. We'll see. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to freehand stamp. So no stamping tool for this. And that's because if I use my stamping tool, I have to take off my stamp and put on my stamp, and it's too much. So I'm going to use these little stars. Again, I'm using this little cute stamp set here, and I'm going to be stamping out. I'm going to leave the single star separate to it. Okay, Jay, I'm not alone then. Jay too has confessed to having the Better Press for a year. Yay. Oh, Jen, so glad you enrolled. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great time. Really, really looking forward to it. I love Juliana. So I so grateful that she said yes when I invited her to come over to our community and to play with us and show us some things. And if you've ever watched any of Juliana's videos, she's just a great teacher, really goes into the details of things. So it's going to be fun. If you have any questions about that class, pop them in the chat. Yes, Luis, you're not alone. You may be guilty, but you're not sitting in guilt alone. Okay, Diane, I'm sure it's hot too, right? That's why you can't wait. Super hot. What does it get like in the fall? It does cool down, I presume, right? In winter. So I have my watercolor cardstock. Now you can choose. I'm going to actually go with the non-textured side, this first one. I just have you might wonder why I pulled out my sticky mat here. And I only did that, not necessarily so it doesn't move around. Yes, that's great. But because it gives me a tiny bit of cushion. When I'm stamping on something super hard, it doesn't give me as great of an impression. So just keep that in mind. Okay. Oh, good. I'm so glad. Wild hippie child. Glad you're going to be coming too. All right. So I'm going to just use, you may have seen me use this in previous videos. It's where I keep my anti-static powder, and I find it's been doing such an incredible job for why I use it. So I just kind of shake it like this first, and it's a little powder bamboo holder, and it's got one of these little powder bags, and that's all my anti-static powder in there. And now it's just right onto my little piece here. I don't get my fingers powdery, and I just like it. So I am going to stamp first, heat emboss, then do a little bit of watercoloring on top. You can do watercoloring first if you want and stamp later. It doesn't really matter with the technique that I'm doing today. So either way. Okay. Okay. No, Jen, that is not embarrassing. Listen, sometimes you just got to wait for the right inspiration to get you, right? So no issues there. You'll be ready when you're ready. Maybe just it's possible you have too much stuff, and that can be overwhelming because you don't know where to start. It's like walking into a messy room and you're like, where do I even begin to clean this room? So what I would say is, if I could be so bold as to just say, grab out 2 ink colors, some watercolor paper, and just play with that. Start there, because that's going to be fun anyway. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stamping with my stars. Again, this was just one of the stamps from there. Don't discount those little stamps that you have in your stash. They are really just there for a reason. Now you can do a lot on your background. You can do this sporadically. I'm going to try to fill it up as much as I can. And the great thing about this is all I'm doing is shifting my ink or my stamp, just moving it around a little bit. I don't care truly what it looks like. I think I know where it's going. I'll do about half the sheet, and then I will take it off and powder it. Okay, so I'll just do about half so I can see. You guys definitely can't see. I can barely see where I'm stamping. So maybe I did about a third. So now I'm going to just take this. I'm not going to do this over my grip mat because I don't want my grip mat to collect all that powder. So I'm just going to do it off to the side. And the sticky ink, if you're new to embossing, the sticky ink is going to just do that. Just be sticky enough to allow us to have our powder poured over. All right. And I'm just seeing where it's not really, I probably should have conditioned my stamp. It's brand new. It's not really stamping very well. This is good. I'm glad we're doing this live so you can see. I don't know if you could see that right at the very top. It did not stamp. Not good first impressions. It got better as I went along because it was getting conditioned. Okay, so I'm going to actually pick out another card and do again. That's something to keep in mind, is if you have a brand new stamp, maybe condition it. Now, how do you condition it? You can either use some sticky ink. Over time, you saw it getting better, or you can just rub it with your fingers like this, or an eraser, something like that. That'll condition it a little bit. Okay, let's try this again. So I'm going to get my anti-static. Yep, Terry, good question. So that's how you can condition it. It helps a lot. I'm trying not to get too much powder on my sticky mat, although it'll wipe up. Not a big deal. All right, what'd Stephanie say? I missed it. I have to come back. Hi, Colleen. All right, let's go back in. So we're going to go back in. We're going to do it again. I'm actually not going to use the distress this time. I find the distress pad is good for some things, but it's very, very squishy. I need something a little bit more firm. I don't know, I feel like maybe it's not getting enough ink. I don't know. This one, the scrapbook.com one, which I don't know if they're going to come back in stock with that. This one feels a lot like the Versamark one, a little bit more firm. All right, so we have a good conditioned stamp. We're going to go down, up. Oh, much, much better already. I can actually see it now. I have a much better impression. I think that was a combination of it not being conditioned and my ink pad. So I've said that before. I'm a bigger fan of the firm embossing ink pads than I am the squishy one like Distress. Although I do believe that it has its place, and it works well too. It's good if you want to do, sometimes I use that one for like the edges of my cardstock. So I'm just going to do, and I can actually, this is great. I can actually see this now. I could not see it before. And you see, I'm just kind of twisting my stamp around just to give a little bit of a different pattern. Now, this is me making a full pattern background. So I'm going to do it twice. I'm going to do this first one in sort of like looks like a symmetrical background, full all the way. Okay. I'll go to the comment section here in just a second. If you have a question, if you can put it in all caps, that will help me see it. Now, I would have stopped a little bit earlier to put my powder on, which you definitely can. If you're moving fast enough, you should be good. But I can also see it now. So I know that I'm not going to cross my stamped images over one another. So I'm okay with that. All right. So let me bring my powder in, and now I'm going to pour that on. I'm glad that happened real time so you can kind of see how to troubleshoot some stuff. It's another reason why lives are so great. Getting a little bit of stray powder, but with this background, I really don't care. It does not have to be perfect because we're going to be doing some fun watercolor resist technique and then some foiling on top of that. I'm going to show you how to foil without a foiling machine, without a laminator. So that'll be fun. I like to show that technique. Okay, that looks good. I'm happy with that. Let's put that off to the side. Now, you might see this in my videos. I bring this out a lot when I'm heat embossing. And one of the reasons is because I don't like my mat right here gets a little warped if I put too much heat on it. So that's why I do that. I'm going to heat up my thing. Let me just make sure my daughter's not putting her air conditioner on or else we're going to lose power. One sec. I keep telling her to ask for permission first, but you know, she forgets. Nope. Okay, we're good. See, that 20-second trip was worth it because otherwise I lose power and then you have to wait for me to come back in. Okay, so let's warm up our heat tool here. You shouldn't be able to hear that heat tool in a second. If someone can let me know if you cannot hear it, that would be great. My new microphone is supposed to shut off all external noise. All right, I'm looking at the chat. It doesn't matter if you're late. There's no late. You are where you're supposed to be. All right. Okay. Oshira. Yes, you're a hoarder for embossing powders. I just find I got rid of almost all my colors. I just find I just do not use them. And a lot of my pigment inks, I have multiple colors. I can use those and then pour clear embossing powder over them so I can kind of get different colors. Not that I was hoarding them, I just wasn't using them. All right. Okay, so for those of you that just showed up, I stamped my image in some sticky ink and poured some clear embossing powder over it. And so now I'm going to heat set. Now I get this question a lot, and I should probably point out I'm using a Wagner heat tool for my embossing. The reason I use it for my embossing and not to dry my panels is because it has a higher heat setting and it's more concentrated, so it'll warp it a little bit more. And you'll see in a second, I'll switch my heat tools because when I am doing watercoloring on my ink, on my backgrounds, I like to dry them in between panels, but I don't use this dryer. You can. I just have the other dryer from Ranger, and I like it better for that reason, for that purpose, I should say. Oh, pattern paper you hoard? Yeah, I got rid of all that too. I have a few pads of pattern paper from scrapbook.com, but beyond that, I did so much purging recently. I needed it for my own mental health. I was feeling overwhelmed. I had too much stuff. It was just, I was getting to know myself and what I was using and what I needed and wanted. What I know I would never make time for. That's another one. Like, oh, I'll do this in the future. And then the future, I'm in another routine because I'm doing something else, you know? So I just got honest with myself. Okay, so that is dried. Okay, so you see all our stars, really pretty pattern, like the clusters of stars. And so before I get into that, I'm gonna actually do another background, and I'm going to do it a little bit more clustered in the bottom or maybe at the top, and then stagger it down. So we'll see if that looks good. All right. If I missed any questions, let me know. It does do a good job of canceling out. Okay, thanks, Michelle. Very good. Okay, yeah, they didn't melt well. Oh, that's a good point too. I think my clear might be getting a little old. I can kind of tell the difference. You can see it's not melting well, like our crafty friend said. Sorry, the name just went by. I just said your name too. This is my brain these days. All right, so let's do it again. Now I'm going to do clustering at the top a little bit. And I'm still, I mean, I know I put the sticky mat under here before. It does give a better impression. It's not 100% going to stop me from what I'm doing. Let me look. I actually am going to put it back. I want to get the best impression I can here. Okay, sorry, my head got in the way. And you really aren't going to be able to see this pattern even until we, oh, well, there you go. That's that. Just dropped my ink pad. You know, it's live. This is where we are. We'll put a sentiment over that one. That's how we hide things. All right, that's it. I'm just going to do that. Not as many in it, and it was put in a different, what is it called, pattern, if you will. Bring my clear back in. Actually, let me do white this time, just to give you an idea of how it comes out different. Again, for this particular technique, it's not really going to matter because we're going to try to cover it with some foil anyway. But if you wanted to see the difference here, you're going to see a lot more stark white with the white embossing powder. Okay. Our little mistake there can always be hidden with a sentiment, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay. I love that you're all talking to each other. It's so great. I find a lot of duplicates when you declutter. Oh, yeah. Same. Well, it's also one of the reasons why I'm glad I declutter. I don't inventory quite enough. I can tell you that. That's for sure. I can already tell that my white embossing powder is melting better than the clear was. None of this, I think, is going to matter too much. We'll see. And that's the fun of a live. Some of these mistakes that get made in the privacy of my own recording, you don't necessarily see, and I just don't always include them. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. It depends. If it's just me wasting people's time, I will not include it. All right. Good enough. Okay. So now I'm going to take out a craft mat and we're going to do some of the resist technique. Now you've seen me do this probably, if you have. This is one of those, if you just need some creative time in your space for your well-being, which is why I'm here today, this is probably one of the most fun things to do because it's just relaxing, it's magical. And so, yes. All right. Yeah, I know, Terry. I try to keep in ones that actually will help the learning process for sure, like the mistakes. Yeah. Yeah, 𝗥𝗘𝗖𝗢𝗥𝗗𝗜𝗡, same here. Can never find it when you're looking for a specific thing. So we're going to do some fall colors for the first panel I did. Now you can probably already see the difference. The left is the white embossing, the right is the clear, because the paper, the cardstock is not super bright white. But when you use white embossing, you're going to get white stars. Okay. Okay, Kaylin's giving us a tip. If you get your embossing ink somewhere you don't want, take a rubber eraser and gently rub over it before you put the embossing powder over it. Oh, that's a good tip. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so let's do our fall colors. We're going to start. I just picked out the fired brick is the red and mustard seed is the yellow. And I chose these two. I'm not going to put all the fall colors down just yet. I chose these two first because they're going to make a pretty orange as well. And so then I'm going to spritz my cardstock a little bit, just a nice mist, and spritz my colors. And then you can tap or you can wipe and glide. So I'm going to sort of do the glide. All right, so already we're seeing that pop up, and the embossing powder and melted embossing powder is now going to resist it. Okay. Okay, so this is what's coming up so far. Okay. So that's fun. Now I have this leftover ink. One thing that you can do is you can take a spare piece of panel, or even like some of those pieces that you cut off when you're cutting down your card panels. These are watercolor cardstock pieces. Even those, when you get those, you can just pick those up and dip them in, get a little bit of extra ink. And they're watercolor, so they're going to be fine. And then you can put those aside and use those maybe as just accent pieces on your cardstock, little extra strips. This way, you minimize waste as much as possible. Right, so we have those. Let those dry. And now I'm going to just pick up the rest of this ink. When is last day to sign up for the mixed media class, Ellen? So for the live, it'll be, if you sign up before 9 a.m. on the day of the class, you'll be eligible for prizes, but registration will be open until we start, so 12 o'clock. And that is all Eastern time. Okay. Okay, good. So now I have my colors here, and I'm going to go back in, and now I'm going to bring in a couple different fall colors. So we have Peeled Paint and Villainous Potion. Okay. Oh, the strip idea. You like that one. Good. Yeah, it's just extra. Pick up a little extra, and I could have just tossed them in my garbage, and I sometimes do, but I thought today I'm trying to be a little bit less wasteful with my stuff. Okay, so I'm going to I want purple up here. So I'm going to be deliberate. This is kind of, well, I just re-wet it, but we're just going to dip that up there. So you're going to get a little bit of muddiness, but the great thing about fall cards is who cares? Because there's mud outside all the time. This is fall. That's one of the greatest things. If you are worried about like mixing too much and worried about, no, don't even worry about it, because again, we're in fall. We can make a mess. And now I'm just dipping again with my colors. You, of course, keep your strips whatever color you want to keep them, but I'm just going to pick up a little bit. And not to mention, if you do this with like a regular panel size, you can die cut out of it and get like leaves. And now you have this wonderful palette to start from to cut out leaves. What is the sheet you are putting the color on? This is a replacement sheet for the Tim Holtz Mixed Media mat, the glass one. So it's just one of those replacement. So what I was saying before is I'm going to use my Ranger heat tool. This one is a wider nozzle. It's not as hot, and it won't reheat up my embossing ink or embossing powder. It won't reheat it up. So we should be okay to use it. Now I could have heat set this before I put the purple and green on, but it did not take away much of that red. You can see here. I think this is great. I'm going to go back in with red. Now, when you're looking at it, you can be like, well, how do I know what to use more of? This is the great thing about being creative, is it's all personal preference. So it's whatever you want to do. I want to see a little bit more red in there. I might even want to see a little bit specifically more orange. So I'm going to use the fire brick and see what I get, just a tiny bit, and I might pull in an orange color. Yes, Stephanie, I agreed, right? You can really just get messy and have fun with it, and especially mixed media. So mixed media is like an anomaly for a lot of people. Like, how do I do it? What do I start? What products do I use? It's my most requested class, hands down. I do a survey at the end of class. I'm always getting requests for mixed media. And because I know how to just throw stuff onto paper and call it mixed media. I thought maybe you all deserved something a little bit more educational. So that's why I pulled in and asked Juliana to come help us. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with not too much red, just a little bit of red there. I'm going to spritz that. All right, I'm going to spritz. Now, if you do one of two things, if you spritz the cardstock, you're going to get a wet on wet technique, which gives a little more blended look. If you don't wet the cardstock, you're going to get more of a splatter look. So I'm going to show you here. I'm just tapping it. All right. So it's where I wanted it. I wanted to fill in this area here. I want to fill it down in this area here. But I'm going to use purple for that down there. Okay. So I'm going to go back up in this corner, and I'm just using my finger to kind of guide. Do you see that? How pretty that is? And it's layering on top of the other colors because it's oxide ink. I'm going to go back in with my strips and just kind of give a nice little mix here. That's it. I'm getting some really cute fall mixing over here on these little strips. You can see my strips off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with my purple, my villainous potion, just a little bit. I want this bottom corner right down here, right there. And of course, it's not going to get everything because I have that embossing powder, those stars to resist it. And I'm out of ink. Let me add some more purple here. All right. I do always like to spray my mat though. Oh, we're getting some rich color here coming up. Now I'm just going to pick it up everywhere. Okay. So there we go. Add my strips. Nothing's really happening with the strips anymore. Oh, thank you, Sue. What a compliment. Queen of smushing. I've never been the queen of anything. Yay. Okay, so I love it. I'm happy with it. I think it's super fun for fall. Again, it's hitting the mark for what we're trying to do here, and that is maximize our supplies and use even the tiniest of stamps in our supply list stuff, right? This is a star stamp from a mini freebie over at scrapbook.com, and we're going to get a super fun background. Also, like I said, you can do this without stamping, and you're just going to get a fun fall background. Now, here's another additional piece of this. If I were to watercolor ink smush this first, let it dry completely, and then stamp my clear embossing ink and powder on here, then I'm going to get what's called, I could use the Joseph's coat technique, where then all of the stars will have that color trapped underneath it. And then you can use a dark color on top to kind of pull that out. So I've done that in previous videos. You want to check those out. Okay. Okay. All right. So we're going to put that, let's see, we're going to put this one aside for a minute. I'm going to put something heavy on it just for while we work on the other panel and try to flatten it out just a little bit. You can run it through your die cutting machine to flatten it out. There's a couple ways you can do it. I'm just going to put something heavy on it. Okay, let's move on to our other panel here, which is the white embossing. This didn't get any powder on it right there. So that probably won't show up, but that's okay. And then I'm going to choose some more summery colors. So let's go with, I'm literally just picking as I go. So I'm going to go with that one, and we'll do a pink. I always reach for picked raspberry. Anybody have a favorite pink color? That's like my absolute favorite. I pick it all the time. I'm going to go with maybe something more muted. Let's go with evergreen. This is a fun. I don't know if I'm going to do the blue. Let's see. Maybe like a grayish color. Well, let's just try it. Who cares? Okay, spun sugar. Yeah, that's your favorite. All right, so I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to put down, I have evergreen bow, which is this really pretty, kind of like an aqua color almost. It's really pretty. So I'm going to do all three. No idea how this is going to turn out. But when we do mystery mixing, it's always fun regardless. Okay, spritz, spritz, smack. Spritz, spritz, smack. Ooh, very pretty. Very almost Eastery, like springy colors. That's fun. And the layering that we do is really fun, right? So that's, I'm a sucker for a pink and a gray though. Those are like probably my favorite combinations. Pink and gray. Pink and brown is pretty too. Any pink is your favorite, Ellen. Pick raspberry, kitsch flamingo. Yeah, I'm always grabbing for, but look how fun these strips are. Just soft, subtle. Maybe you could put a sentiment on that, put it right across your background. Really fun. All right, let's do it again. And I'm going to keep out the pumice stone this time. I'm going to do the pink And no, I'm going to keep out the evergreen bow. Bow or bow? Bow or bow? Reminds me of sherbet. Yes. I didn't think Mary for keeping me. Oh, Stephanie, I kept you from cleaning. Am I sorry? I'm probably not. I'm probably not sorry. Okay, so the pumice stone is almost like a brownish gray. So I guess that would be like a warm gray. So it's not a cool gray. Still loving it. A little bit too much pink. Okay, I'm seeing a little too much pink happening here. So we're going to balance this out. And we're going to dry it first so I can layer on some of the evergreen bow. I'm just going to keep saying bow. Why not? Let me get my heaty thing and my Ranger tool. Oh, Ellen, yay. I'm so glad that was useful. I am going to use those strips for some. They're really pretty. And they just do, if you just added a little bit of extra something to your card, or like I said, put a sentiment on there, works out great. Okay, Jen, do I need to get re-inkers for my distress ink pads when I buy them? How often do they need to be re-inked? This is all gorgeous, Mary. Jen, I have an opinion. It doesn't mean it's the right opinion. But if you're talking, for me, I only have the full set of oxide. So let me answer for an oxide user. I would say you do not need to buy the re-inkers right away. Get a few of your favorite colors, figure out what you gravitate toward most, and then start buying re-inkers based on that. That's my best advice. Yes, they do eventually need to be re-inked. I think I went 1.5 years, 2 years without re-inking them. They still were holding up. But when you do re-ink, you notice, of course, you're going to get a lot better results. However, I'm really glad I did not buy all of the re-inkers for every single color because I don't use every single color. So just find out maybe what you go for the most. Great question. Like take a bow. Yeah, okay. All right, very good. Good questions. Okay, so now I'm going to add so we can see here we have a lot of pink happening. So now I'm going to just add the evergreen bow right there. I'm not going to wet my cardstock. See? And now we're layering. And now I've brought in, I was missing that green. I'm happy with that. A little bit up here, maybe a little in the corner, some strips, some strip action here. There we go. See? And we have these really cool, funky looking strips. Love it. And I'm still getting a lot of those different colors, variations happening within the strips. Okay, so good. I am loving this. I don't even care what the background looks like, if I'm honest, like that I can see or not see some of the stars. I feel like it just gives like a really cool, funky vibe. So that's fun. Now, little tip. Let's say right here, you're like, oh, I don't like how that is. You're just kind of like sitting and spreading out there. We can try to spritz the actual card panel and move some of that around. You can lighten up that harshness on there. So that's another option you can do. All right, so let's do that. And then you can even, if you want to, pick it up. So we can pick up some of that ink off that top layer that we just did. There we go. Fun. All right, so we have that. I'm going to set that aside. I'm not going to do much with that today. I just wanted to do a different color theme. And I'm going to pull back in our other right here. Can you do the same process with dye inks and water base? Yes, you can, Pam. Yep, you can do the same exact thing with dye inks. That's really what they're great for. I have a couple minis in the Distress line, and I have all of the Catherine Puller inks, and yes, you can. Okay. Let's see. Can you add some stickles? Ooh, Bonnie, say more. Where would I add stickles? I want to hear more about that. All right, let's move on. I'm trying to peruse the questions to see if there's any that are for me or for each other. So please let me know if I'm not answering it, just put it in all caps. So I have my background here, and look at this strip. If I pulled this strip in, the strip is, you can use it as a belly band. But what I like about it is if I put the sentiment on here, I don't have to worry about the fact that this was all uneven and I won't be able to stamp directly on. I could stamp on this little belly band here and it doesn't have any of the stars. So already it's kind of making a distinct line between the two, which makes it very easy to stamp a sentiment. So if I stamped like hello fall or thank you right here on the center. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why the strips are really fun too. Let's move on to our next thing here. And this is going to be putting on some foil, not perfectly, mind you. We have to manage our expectations. It will not be perfect. But it's going to add a little bit of foiling without pulling out a laminator or your, foiling machine or anything like that. Hey, Jen, I'm glad that was helpful. Well, for those of you that have ever registered for any of my classes, you have access to my Facebook group. And we are such an amazingly helpful bunch over there. So seriously, you all have shown up. Oh my gosh, it's incredible. So thank you for that. But it's an ongoing group. So anyone that gets registered for a class automatically gets added. But if you are on Facebook, I highly recommend hanging out with us because we share, we encourage, we talk about stuff. There was one of our members had put a picture in of her crafting helper, which is her pet, her dog. And then we all shared pictures of our pets. It was cute. Okay. I have no luck with foils in the trimmer. No, Stephanie, the trimmer I just used or the paper trimmer guillotine, because that's exactly why I did not pull out my guillotine. The foil does not work. I don't even like cutting foil with scissors. All right, they do I still have that little contraption? They do. Hang on. If that's what you're talking about, no luck cutting foil. Spellbinders, is it? 1 second. I will show you. Spellbinders has this contraption here where you can put the foil underneath and then use one of their cutters to slice it. Or you can just use the kind of paper trimmer that I just showed. Either one. Oh, really, Stephanie? Oh, yeah. Mine cuts up pretty nicely. But this one I do not use for foil. All right, so we have our foil. We have our, I don't want to heat on top of this, so I need another surface. If you have a glass mat, that works great. I have a glass mat, but I don't use it for filming because it just annoys me. So I'm going to pull out this, and I'm not using my gray mat for this because I need a flat surface. All right, so it's just like a Dollar Tree clipboard. So I have my foil, I have my background, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reheat up I hope this works. It looks like my embossing powder has seen better days, but my goal is to heat up the embossing powder so it's sticky again, and then I'm going to put my foil on top and pick up the foil. And then I'm going to get this really fun addition to my stars. Okay. Let me pause. Patricia, do you tend to buy more of your recommended products from certain places or websites? If yes, what are your top choices? Patricia, I do a lot of my shopping through scrapbook.com. I'm an affiliate with scrapbook.com as well, which helps me. They earn a little bit of commission back if people shop with those links. I love scrapbook.com. I have a really great relationship with them. And so that's where I get most of my stuff. If I can't find it there, I'll go directly to the stamp company, which if you look on my website, which is linked in the description of this video, you'll see those direct links, and I'll buy it from the store directly. And then if I can't find it or it's not sold in those stores, I'll get it from Amazon. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Oh, Bonnie, foil. Yes. Okay, we're great minds think alike then. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my heat gun. This is the more concentrated one, and I'm going to, or I could call it my heat tool. My heat tool, and it's the more concentrated one. So I'm going to, couple things. Be careful, okay? Don't burn yourself. And you can also use something like this, which I picked up from Dollar Tree, and that's if I needed to, okay? But just be careful when you're pressing down your foil because it's going to be hot. All right, so let's try and see what we get here. I'm going to use the high setting. I'm going to do it in concentrated pieces. So I'm not going to go all over my card because then it's going to dry right behind me. So I'm heating the corner first. I'm removing the heat. I'm putting down my foil. I'm pressing, being careful because it's hot. Okay. And not much is happening. Let's try again. You can kind of see it, but it's like the faintest foil. So let's do it again. I'm going to go right for the center for demo purposes. My cardstock is really warping up, so it's making it a little bit more difficult. I'm going to go a little faster with it. Okay, this is one way to do it. I'm going to show you another one in just a second. All right, here's the other way. We're going to try. If I'm troubleshooting this, it's because my embossing powder is not really working that well. I think I need new embossing powder. We'll try it on the other panel too, because the white seemed to be working out better. Let me try this way one more time. All right, here's the other way. If that's not working, is you place it right down onto your panel. And because a lot of crafting happens, a lot of like fixing mistakes happens on the fly as I'm going through it, because I'm seeing my cards too warped. I couldn't have predicted that it would have been this warped, and I'm struggling. So I'm going to place this down. I'm going to heat it, and then I'm going to press as we go. Okay, so this is another option, and it's heating it underneath. Stay more concentrated in one area. You don't want to press and smush too much, or else you'll lose all of your star look, because once it's reheated. All right. All right, this is not working. I'm going to show you. See that? See the gold? The idea here did not work very well. I'm guessing it's because of my embossing powder. So we're going to try again. Let's pull out, this one needs to be warmed up a little bit. Mary, try burnishing the foil with the Teflon bone. I know, I like the Teflon. It's a great tip. I'm hesitant to use it because it does flatten out. And when you're talking about a image like this, it doesn't matter if it gets a smush, but if you're using the Teflon on a sentiment to foil it, it will lose the detail. But great tip. You don't recommend foiling glues? Oh, Bonnie, that's not for me, is it? I don't know what foiling glues are. If it is for me, someone help? I think that was for me, Bonnie, because it was in all caps. I don't know what a foiling glue is. I like the Deco Foil Duo. Do you all guys know that I like that? Because I've showed it in multiple videos. Okay. Let's try. Let me try some silver. Let's choose the gold. We have lots of gold here. All right. I will attempt to cut my foil with scissors. I will struggle, but I will do it. Oh, my new tin holds scissors cut pretty well. Maybe I should have tried that. All right, so let's try this again. I want to make sure. There are some foils that don't really work very well. So with, you have to have the right kind of foil. So let's do a little test here. This is what I would do if I was alone in my craft room. And if I was experimenting for a video. So this is exactly what I would do. So this is great. I'm taking you along the process. So I'm going to put a piece of sticky adhesive to make sure that I'm using the right foil. You want the foil that's going to adhere to something that's tacky or sticky. Okay. So that's why I'm going to test it out. Let's see what we get. I'm going to remove that strip. I'm going to take this foil and I'm going to place it right over the strip. Okay, now when I pull this back, the foil should stay behind. And it does. You see that? That's the idea. Okay, that's what I want. So I'm using the right foil. I need to get this stick heated up enough, but I'm telling you, I don't know if it's the watercolor cardstock, but my embossing powder, oh well, I just have to go shopping. I have to go shopping for more. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo for me. All right, let's try this again. Yes, better. And also better because I can see the lighter colors. With the darker colors, it was a little bit more difficult to see, but it's working better. Let's just keep going. See what we can get. I'm going to show you another option. If the reheating of your embossing powder is not working, I'm going to show you something else you can do too. I try to have fixes for fixes for fixes. That's what we try to do. All right. Okay, so that's what I was kind of looking for to add a little extra foil. So let's take this back out because I'm like, you know what? I want foil on here. I want foil on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, if I can find it, my Smart Glue. It's tacky. You want a glue that dries tacky. So you can use the Tombow Green. You can use Smart Glue from scrapbook.com. You can use, what else dries tacky? I'm sure the one that's called Tacky dries tacky. Anyone? Not have any? Preposterous. You blend out microphone works rather well. It just gives a sweet tingling sound, which sounds exactly as the timer. The timer for the oven. Oh, well, that's funny. What are you cooking? Share with us. No way I got rid of my Smart Glue. It's impossible. All right, anyway. Well, let me just talk about the idea. So the idea for that is you would take a tacky glue and you can apply it with like a makeup sponge and just kind of like dab it everywhere. So it's not like perfect globs, but it's just kind of like haphazard on there. Let it dry. It'll dry tacky. Go back in with your foil and pick it up. And then you're going to get that added foil accent that you want. So I feel like this video was sort of a wash. Totally. Because we had some fun making some embossing. Resist. All right, what questions? Let's see, what questions can I answer? Of course, I can't find my glue, but it's like getting glue dry to just a sticky pod that put foil on it. Bonnie? I don't quite understand that. Let me know what you mean there. Tacky mode. Got it. Do you have autocorrect? Yes, exactly. Let's see. Foil can also go through a laminating machine to set it. Yep, absolutely. I just didn't want to pull mine out. I was being lazy. Let's see. I'm going to switch. Yeah, okay. Switch here. Could you use a laminator? Yes, I believe you can use laminator because what's going to happen is it's going to heat up. I've done this before, and I've also used a heat press. So it's going to heat up the embossing. However, I really feel like a combination between my embossing powder and the cardstock did not go in my favor. I'm convinced. So why not experiment? If you have to leave, I totally understand. But if you want to stay for our little experiment, I'm just going to do a quick stamp. Quick couple stamps. This is just an experiment, so nothing has to be perfect. All right, and we're going to see. I'm going to use, thanks, Kaylin. Appreciate that. I'm going to use some Bristol smooth cardstock. It doesn't matter what cardstock you pull out. It's smooth, and that's what I was going for, because I feel like it's possible my watercolor cardstock just was giving too many textured feelings, and it wasn't giving me the look I was going for, to be able to reheat. It's almost like the embossing powder, ink, whatever, the embossing ink was drying into it, and then I couldn't get a good powder coverage, and then whatever. So that's what I'm feeling may have happened. So let's go in here and try this again. I'm going to pour white powder. Again, just a smoother cardstock that I'm trying. We're going to see. This is going to be great for me to know too, because when I recommend this technique, maybe watercolor is just not the cardstock for it, you know? Okay. Do I need both heat guns to start doing this? No, Jen, you don't. If you're doing this particular technique and you only want to buy one heat gun, I would buy this one. Oh, let me switch. The Wagner, I feel like it's, you can still dry a panel with it. And I do find it heats more succinctly. Already, I'm getting such a better result with my embossing. So much better. Oh my gosh. Okay. So if you want to go for like this mixed media look, this hot mess of a situation right here. It's still pretty. Okay, so now I have this, and I'm going to do the foil business. Let's go with rainbow foil. Let's go with the rainbow foil. I hadn't used my Tim Holtz scissors on my foil before, but look at, they're cutting very well. Got the new ones. Now we're going to do the same exact thing. Okay, let's give it a go. Would smooth watercolor cardstock work? Probably. I was on the smooth side too, but I don't know. It must have like sucked in the embossing ink fast, therefore not giving me a really great embossing powder dry. Hope that makes sense. That's what my theory is right now, but we're experimenting. So that's fine. So I'm going to reheat, remelt my stars. Okay. Remelt my stars. Same technique. Remelt my stars. Much better already. You see? Already. And that's, yeah, I think it was the watercolor cardstock. Great to know. I didn't know. I didn't know. All right, we're going to pull that one back. Yep. See what's happening here? Again, you're not going to get a perfect result, but look how much better that is. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, right? And we can also, let's say, once this is done, we can do the foiling first, but let's say, I like to do the foiling last because it keeps it most shiny. But let's say, for example, we wanted to add a little bit of this color to it. So we'll go pink. I'm just grabbing what I had next to me, the purple and the evergreen bough. A little evergreen bough up there. A little spritz situation. Now I'm not working on watercolor cardstock. Bristol Smooth is heavier though, so it should be able to let me do that. It should still resist and still show up with my foiling. See? So there we go. So the technique works. It was just my sequence of having this, the certain supplies. Yay. All right. Nice to learn something together, Cindy. I agree. I agree. Definitely. I always say, I always learn no matter where I'm teaching, whether it be when I was in the Air Force or my crafting classes, I always learn so much more from the students than I ever think they learn from me. So that's great. Is this toner foil or glimmer foil? This first one, the gold, was glimmer foil. And I don't know. I don't know what this one is. It's from ThermoWeb. So off the top of my head, I'm not sure. Are you saying that it's the foil? Is this what I'm hearing you say? That it's the foil situation? Should I try the, no, it's just, if you saw this up close, you'd see the stars are not totally solid with embossing ink. Yeah. How about stamping with sticky glue and cleaning stamp immediately? Yeah, you can definitely do that, Barbara. Absolutely. I can't find my sticky glue. I can't find it. But I do have all this extra ink here, and I have some extra strips. So why not? Let's see what we get. Oh, how fun is that? That's super fun. That was wet on dry paper, so I did not dry my paper. Get this really fun gray come up with the purple and the evergreen bough mixing. Oh, that's neat. Look at that. That's super pretty. All right, friends. It's been an hour. I'm likely going to edit this video down into like a short voiceover video, just so that we can share what we've learned with others who don't have maybe the full hour to watch. So look for that on my channel. It's hot in here. If you wonder why I have such a glowy, dewy look, it's very hot. Okay, so this was great. Thank you so much for everyone who hung out with me and learned along the way. Again, this is exactly what I would do in my craft room when I'm doing a video and experimenting. If you want to join us, don't forget, you can register all the way up until the start of class on the 27th. But just to be eligible for prizes, join before 9 a.m. on Saturday the 27th, and that link is below. As well as some other things if you want to check that out. I'll hang out for a couple seconds to see some comments, and then if there's any other questions for anyone. But I wish everyone a fantastic week ahead. I hope your summer's going well. I hope you're making time for yourself. I needed this today for myself and my well-being, and it was just an honor to have you all show up and hang out with me to do that. I feel better already. It's been a trying few weeks, not anything bad, just challenging with switching up my schedule a little bit, reminding me of how important my schedule is of my own self-care. And when I deviate from it, what actually happens negatively for me. And so it's really great to kind of get myself back on track. But yes, thank you. Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, everybody. So encouraging. I really appreciate you. Yay. Will you try the rainbow foil on the watercolor paper? Melissa, yes, I'll try. I'll do that. Thanks so much, Mary, for the little diversion. Oh, yay, you're welcome. Now go clean. Oh, 2 broken feet, Pam. Aw, speedy recovery, but not too speedy. Rest. It'll all be waiting for you. Just rest. Yay. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jen. Oh, you all are just filling me up with all kinds of love. So anyone that wants to stay back and see if the rainbow foil works on the watercolor cardstock, we're going to try that next, just to give that a go. I'm heating the back first just to unwarp it a little bit. All right, let me go to the front. I'm going to concentrate on this star right here. Get it nice and reheated. All right, it worked better-ish. Oh, you were all just staring at my head. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Better, but still grainy. This one, if you can see the difference between the two right here. Yeah, I think it wasn't, I don't think it was the powder. I think it was the cardstock that soaked in the sticky ink too much. I hope that helps. Yay, good, okay. Do foils need to be set? Patricia, do foils need to be set? What do you mean by that? Or the gold one on the other one? Yes, Melissa, we'll try that. Patricia, let me know what you mean. I think the rainbow is toner foil. I think it might be. It might be. I wouldn't set the alarm on time. Oh, thanks, Sue. I love that. So nice. What a nice compliment. So we said the gold. I have a little bit left on this one. So we're going to show right down here in this little corner here. We'll try the gold. Oh, yeah, it worked really well. Okay. Almost perfect. You covered those images really well. Thanks for making me try that, Melissa. I appreciate that. It really does. It helps troubleshoot even better. So I'm now even more convinced it was the watercolor cardstock that was the culprit. Still, you can still get a fun, grungy look with that, but it didn't go exactly as I was hoping it would go. Will the foil rub off? No, foil won't rub off. Good questions. Oh, yay, Pebbles St. Leonard's. Thank you. Yes, hit that like button if you had a good time. All right. I think that's it. Oh, Melissa answered your question, Patricia. Thank you so much. Awesome. Okay. I think I just got it. Do you need to set it? Just got that so that it doesn't rub off. Because Patricia just asked that question. All right, Mary, it's time for some coffee. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you. I will see you all either in class next week or down the line in YouTube, in the comments, or in our next live. So have a great week. Bye, everybody.